to another edition of Radio Biafra live transmission on this very day, the 13th day of the second month of the year 2020, the eve of the interment of my parents, on this very great day that Elohim has made. And as we are always reminded by the psalmist, in every condition, we give praise and adoration to Elohim. Therefore, I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to some of you, because unlike any other platform, this very Radio Biafra is listened to across the entire 24 time zones on this very planet. Wherever there are Biafrans, this very moment, be it their morning, their afternoon, or their evening, they are all congregating and listening to Radio Biafra for this very gospel of restoration of the kingdom of heaven upon the face of the earth. For those who are undiscerning, for those who are blind in spirit, you will not understand what this very effort in this time, in this very age, portends for the promise that Elohim has made to his children. For when you pray, let thy will be done on this very earth as it is in heaven, you are talking about Biafra. You are talking about the restoration of the kingdom of heaven upon the face of the earth, the very center of the universe, the very beginning of the existence of mankind on this very planet. And that is Biafra. We know, not just do we believe, we know that this very effort we are making is ordained by heaven itself. That is why the coming of Biafra is not only inescapable, but it is a certainty. It is the reality of our time. My name is Nnamdi Kanu. I am the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, and by the very special grace of the Most High Elohim, a servant of the wonderful people of Biafra, wherever you are, I welcome you. And as I do so, I would also ask you to welcome all those who are around you. Very, very important, very, very critical, and you must do so. Our enemies will try. Our enemies will try to dislodge us, but they can never ever prevail. They can never ever succeed. For the work we are doing is divine. The work we are doing is absolutely paramount. It is essential, and that is what we are here to do. I must accomplish it. They have come again this very evening. They are tampering with our feed. They are making things impossible for us. They are making things very, very difficult for us this very evening, as they have always done. But they can never, ever prevail. They can never, ever succeed. There is no way that darkness can prevail over light, and that is why we are going to win, and win we shall. Our program this evening, our enemies are doing all they can to interrupt it, but they cannot succeed. They can never ever succeed. We are winning, and that is what we have been brought here to do. To win this very effort, to make sure that Biafra is restored in our time. What we are doing is exceptional. What we are doing is the work that heaven asked us to do. Before we proceed, we must pray, as it is usual for us, as it is customary for us. We are experiencing the usual frustration in terms of our streaming on social media, but I am comforted by the fact that the whole of Biafra land is listening, that humanity is listening, especially those of them who are gathered in and around my compound this very evening in Biafra land, with the time now standing at approximately, I need to get you the time. The time today is, because these people are messing up, is 12 minutes past the hour of 7 p.m. in the blessed land of Biafra. They are seriously disturbing our transmission, but we are going to prevail as we have always done in the past and shall also do tonight. We are going to pray. We are going to pray to Elohim in heaven, unto whom and to whom every honor, every glory, every adoration, and every adulation must always belong. We pray this very evening, our Creator, our Maker, Elohim Adonai El Shaddai, Chukwokika Biama Prumi Henine, the Lord of our lords and the kings of our king, indivisible. Indivisible. He that created all that was made, but nothing created him. How majestic is your name above all the earth and the heavens. You have set your glory in the heavens, and through the praise of your children, you have established a stronghold against all your enemies, to silence the foe and the avenger. When we consider your heavens and your handiwork, the moon and the stars and the infinitum of space, all these you have set in place, what is mankind, what is man on this very earth, that you are mindful of them? Human beings, that you care for them. But you care about Biafra because you made us in your image. You established us at the very center of your creation on this very earth, that we may worship thee in truth and in every honesty. You have made us a little lower than the angels, and you have crowned this very noble family with glory and with honor. You have made us successful wherever we have been. You have subdued our enemies and put them under our feet. That is why the more they persecute us, the more they suffer. That is why the more they come after us, the more pauperized they become, the more poverty-stricken they become. You have given us everything. Allow us to witness your glory in Biafra. Everything on this earth is yours. Our Lord and our God, Chukwokika Biama Binigwe, how majestic is your name in all the earth. Accept every glory, accept every honor, accept every praise, O Heavenly Father. That your name and only your name and no other will be exalted and magnified in the land of Biafra and beyond, now and forevermore, we pray. He say, our work is not done until Biafra is restored. That is why this evening this gospel must be preached. There are those who delight in misrepresenting and misinterpreting everything that we say. But I will commence the broadcast this very evening by quoting a very particularly poignant part of the scripture. And it is from the first book of Samuel, chapter 15, verse 33, and this is what Samuel said. As your sword has killed the sons of many mothers, Now your mother will be childless amongst women. And Samuel cut Agag to pieces before the Lord at Gilgal. I quote this very portion for all the armies of darkness descending on Umuahia. I quote this for those who are commanding them. I quote this very noble verse in the scripture for the likes of Police Commissioner in Abia State, Ene Ogun. I quote it for all those who are hard at hearing. I quote it for those who maybe tomorrow afternoon or evening will write about a fictitious clash, those who shy away from the truth, those who find solace in falsehood and lies, for them to know that the army of darkness, the zoo army and the police, they are the ones seeking for trouble. They are the ones provoking us into a violent reaction. And may the good Lord in heaven have mercy upon our soul if any of them is as stupid as to fire a shot tomorrow or even this evening. We are a very peaceful movement. We are not a terrorist organization. What we are seeking for is the freedom of the people of Biafra, the same way we were before the British came. We are seeking to exercise that freedom through the instrumentality of a referendum. There is nowhere within our ethos, there is nowhere within our modus operandi that allows us to engage anybody violently. That should they, in their infinite stupidity, try anything stupid, all those who are commanding them will live to regret it. But I must make this point very, very clear. I must repeat, I did not, and will never apologize to any fool in a zoo security services uniform. What was made very clear to us, because it is important that I clarify this evening before we proceed to the substance of our broadcast, is that the targeting of women and children is cruel and barbaric. It is not our way of life. We cannot be like the zoo. And in that regard, I spoke out of turn, and I apologize to those that matter. I made our friends all over the world to realize that we do not go out to target women and children. We will target those who target us, and I draw the attention of all those who are concerned with overseeing their phantom security around my hometown to always refer to the book of 1 Samuel 15:33. If they make our mothers childless, so shall we make their mothers childless amongst women. Very, very important they understand that. No stone will be left unturned in this very effort. We are a peaceful movement. We have come in peace. We do not, I reiterate, we do not target women nor children. We go after those that come after us. And should anything happen, that is exactly what we are going to do. We are traveling, all of us, from all over the world. In fact, I'm being told this evening that no hotel is vacant. There is no more vacancy in and around Umuahia, insofar as accommodation is concerned, because people have come in from all over the world to attend the burial of my parents. The whole world is watching. Not only do we have CCTV cameras, we have drones all over the place. So everything happening will be captured and recorded in real time and relayed to the whole world. Should the zoo attempt to provoke us, the whole world will be aware of it. And anything we do from then on in will be justified. Nobody can blame us. We have gone to this very extraordinary length in order to preempt the editorial and the headline of most corrupt newspaper establishments in Nigeria, because they always say there is a clash between the police and IPOB. We have rigged the whole of Isiama Faruku and its environs with cameras and with drones to prove to the world that Nigerian police and Nigerian army are always the ones instigating trouble and lawlessness. We want to prove it. That is why we have those cameras, and I'm advising anybody that knows the Commissioner of Police in Abia to return the 2 cameras they stole earlier today. You see how they provoke people. They come to your house, a personal property, and they try to steal your property without court approval and for no reason. All they are seeking to do is to provoke IPOB into a reaction so that their friends in the corrupt media in Nigeria will say there is a clash. You can't sit in your house and be clashing with people that traveled all the way down from Zamfara, from Sokoto, in order to seek a confrontation. That is something the world must know. We do not threaten children. We do not threaten women. My threat was directed at Ene Okon, the Commissioner of Police in Abia. And should they try anything stupid, I would very seriously recommend that every commanding officer tomorrow read the first book of Samuel 15:33. Very, very important indeed. Therefore, Biafrans, we have to conduct ourselves in a manner that is consistent with who we are. We are IPOB. We are known all over the world. Everywhere you go on this very planet, people talk about IPOB. They respect us immensely. We must conduct ourselves tomorrow in a manner that will please my mother and my father, because I know they are seated on the right hand of the creator of everything that we see around us. We are engaged in very serious diplomatic overture, and for that very reason, there are certain statements and utterances that should not be coming from us, and that was why I apologized unreservedly. But for CP Okon and all those who claim that they are commanders in the zoo security services, should anything happen between now and tomorrow night, you will be held personally responsible and you will pay very dearly for it. We must proceed, and I do hope that that has clarified a lot for very many people. As we are preparing the funeral service and interment of my father and my mother, His Royal Majesty S.I.O. Kanu and the wife Ugoeze Sally Meme Kanu, the Zoo military abandoned Boko Haram in the north. They were chased away from Borno, where they went to. And in keeping with the stupidity of the damnable Zoological Republic, they have flooded them down to Abia State, where there is a funeral. I want people to understand the magnitude of the stupidity of your average Nigerian. I say it without any apologies to anyone, that the way they reason in Nigeria is a cause for concern. Because I believe very strongly that even monkeys can do better. Chimpanzees can do better. I would not imagine that any chimpanzee, be the leader of the group or the herd, will abandon the defense of that very family that is heading to go and start speaking or looking for quarrel somewhere when his family is being diminished on a daily basis by rivals. What do I mean? It is the height of incomprehensible idiocy that Nigerians allow Jubril al-Sudani, being remote controlled by Abba Kyari, Buratai and all the rest of them, to be sending troops to Umuahia, to be sending troops to Isiama Faruku Ibeku in Umuahia. When Boko Haram is busy chasing them all over the north, to the extent that people were booing Jubril when he traveled to Borno, Some of you say he's Buhari, but I feel sorry for you, of course. So you are black, you cannot reason very well. You are blind, you cannot see. He is Jubril. And I will continue to refer to him as Jubril al-Sudani because that is who he is. Some of you are frightful, some of you are cowardly, some of you are truth averse. You do not know the truth, even if it were to smack you in the face. Because of your cowardice and your lily-livered nature, you cannot see a spade and call it a spade. Jubril traveled to Borno. They told them, oh, this is Buhari. And they were booing him. Because of the state of insecurity everywhere in Nigeria, breakdown of law and order everywhere, kidnapping, banditry, murder, everything you can think of. As a form of violent vice is happening in the zoo called Nigeria. But their concern, their primary concern is to move troops to Abia State. That tells you how foolish and how stupid they are. It tells us also one thing, that they cannot survive without us. They are doing what they are doing because of oil and gas. They do not know how to create employment. Graduates are unemployed. Crime is rampant everywhere. Arewako North, they produce the largest population of poor people in the whole of the Southern Hemisphere. They do not go to school. They need you to cover their shortcomings. They need you to mask their incompetence. They need you in one Nigeria to cover for them so that their ignorance and stupidity will not be made known to the whole world. That is why they do what they do. But some of us are so foolish and ignorant we do not say it. Ask yourself, why would they come out against Amoteku? Because it will lead to regionalism. Why are they against people going back to the regions that was agreed and contained in the 1963 constitution of the zoo called Nigeria? Because with all of us together, we would not know those who are underperforming. The reason why Western Europe is preeminent in the history of mankind as we have it today is because they allow competition. In the EU, there is competition. In the classrooms, there are competition everywhere. People compete on a daily basis. Be it in football, in volleyball, in politics, there is competition of ideas. People sell their ideas. But in the zoo, you are not allowed to compete. You're not even allowed to study history. Therefore, how can you compete? Now, let us look at some of the happenings in the zoo. By zoo, I mean Nigeria. And you're going to ask yourself this evening, why is it therefore, why is it therefore that troops and police are in Umuahia? What is happening in Umuahia, you would ask yourself. I wrote today and I asked the British High Commissioner to tell their monkeys, their apes in the zoo, the Janjaweed Fulani, to leave Umuahia alone and go back to Borno, go to Adamawa, go to Yobe, and fight the menace that you created. They are the ones that created Boko Haram. They are the ones that created it. But some of you, out of ignorance today, you have forgotten. Because you don't learn history. You learn nothing from history. Some of you do not know the story or the history of the violent emergence of Boko Haram. You do not know. Boko Haram was exactly like IPOB, going about their business and preaching that they want a caliphate, which they are within their rights to preach. They are within their rights to agitate for whatever thing they're looking for, as long as a majority of the people agree to it. Do you know what happened? They went to Maiduguri and started killing people. Nigerian police, Nigerian army. They killed Mohammed Yusuf, the leader of the group. And today the son is the leader of ISIS in West Africa. And you have seen how many people have died as a result of the brutality, incompetence, and wickedness of Nigerian army and police. I want the world to, the world, when I go to America and other places, I tell them this story. Boko Haram you're looking at today started as a freedom movement for Islamic Caliphate in the north. They were unarmed. They hold their rallies. But as usual, politicians gather, they incite their friend, their local police commissioner. They went about killing people. That was how Boko Haram became violent. I want the world to understand this. I want Nigerians, when you're condemning Boko Haram, I need you to understand this very fact. Boko Haram tilted towards armed violence and terrorism as a result of the heavy-handedness of the Nigerian government, exactly what they're doing in Isiama Faruku. When we start tomorrow, they will cut the history. They will forget the past, what they have done. They will jump into, oh, they're violent. They're a terrorist group. I want the world to listen to what I'm saying. That the Nigerian government, especially this very regime, they create problems. They are the source of insecurity in Nigeria. They are the problem in Nigeria. Some of you will be shouting, Boko Haram is bad. They are doing this. Boko Haram, they are bad. Who made them bad? Nigerian government of the day. They went about killing them. And they got angry. Now, Nigeria is begging them to drop their arms. Willing to pay whatever they ask for in order to get them to calm down. Calling them their brothers and their cousins and their sisters. Are you following? Boko Haram only became violent when Nigerian government started clamping down and killing people for no reason. But some of you today, you blame Boko Haram for everything. None of you ever, until today, I have never read where people said, Nigerian problem, the Boko Haram menace in Nigeria and terrorism was caused by Nigerian police. These same Nigerian police, they have come again. And nobody's warning them. They are now posing, running around with AK-47 around my house. We're posing, and people are keeping quiet. When we respond tomorrow, the headline will be, IPOB is a terrorist group. All those Yoruba newspaper editors, all those Bini, and some of them are Biafrans, of course. All those newspaper editors, I suggest you remain conscious of history when writing about what we are doing as a freedom fighting movement, agitating peacefully for the restoration of Biafra. All of you have now kept quiet. Your army and your police are patrolling. Tomorrow when we respond disproportionately, of course we will, if they try anything stupid. Remember that I told you that we were in our villages, in our towns, minding our own business, burying our dead, which they, of course, contributed to their deaths, of course, because my parents will be alive today, if not for what Buratai and his men did in my house on the 14th of September of 2017. All of you will forget all of that. I'm saying this to remind you that when we start, you will forget all the things that you have done. You will come to beg to negotiate, but then it will be too late. And I'm telling and I'm warning Nigerians that it is because of the wickedness of an average Nigerian and their inability to face the truth. The truth of the matter is that Boko Haram was peaceful until Nigerian security forces started killing them. That is the fact. They did what Nigerian government has been doing to them, to pick up arms and bombs, and they started killing people. Why are they killing people? Because the population kept quiet as injustice upon injustice is being brought upon that very group. Today all of you are crying. Boko Haram is coming and you're running away. But when Nigerian army and police, we are doing to them exactly what they're doing today in Isiama Faruku, all of you kept quiet. If Boko Haram that is run by street urchins, by Janjaweed, people who are not educated, can give Nigeria a tough time, can you imagine what an educated IPOB can do to Nigeria should we decide to become violent? Can you imagine that? It's not even worth contemplating. I'm saying all this so that all of you will bear that in mind. They are sending troops to my house, whereas in Maiduguri in the north, they are killing people every blessed day. As Jubril came and was leaving, residents of a place called Jidari Polo on the outskirts of Maiduguri began to run into the city through a place called Polo and Damboa Road as terrorists attacked. I want the United States Ambassador, British High Commissioner, and EU in Abuja right now listening to this broadcast to understand this very clearly. You people are aiding and abetting evil in Nigeria by not condemning the lack of vision and strategy of Abba Kyari and Buratai. People are fleeing their homes. Terrorists are coming to kill them. This is happening in Maiduguri. After Jubril, that they claim is Buhari, went to go and see them. What did Nigeria do? They did not send troops to go and safeguard the lives and properties in Borno. They sent them to Mwai, where there's a burial of a monarch and a wife. And somehow tomorrow morning you wake up and tell me that black people can reason. You wake up and tell me that we are Nigerians. You reason very well. An animal is better than you. The takeaway from this very news analysis is this. When the day that Nigeria government will provoke IPOB into armed struggle, I want you to go back and start the story from the beginning. That we usually sit on our own and they will come and bring trouble to us. Trouble will be sleeping. Inyanga will be waking it up. You know what is Inyanga? It will be waking up trouble. When that trouble starts, I want all the E-rats and all those paid gullible writers on Facebook to remember what I'm saying tonight. When the Nigerian army came, when they were being deployed to Biafra land to go and be killing people, you said nothing. Nobody rose up to say what you're doing is not good. The day we become violent, I am sure some of you will have so many things to write about. And if you go to my house this very evening, you will see what is happening, that this IPOB, we've not seen anything like it before. People are there. It doesn't matter how many roadblocks you have. It doesn't matter how many AK-47 is on display. Once IPOB is called to attend an event, they attend it. Are my parents not dead? Those of us who have been marked to die in this very struggle will die, the living will go on, and Biafra will come. Even if it's just one person, one man, one woman left on this earth, Biafra will come. What you're doing is just wasting your time and delaying what is in essence inevitable. That's what I'm going. People, there were sporadic shootings and houses being set ablaze. Oh my goodness. A leader of a vigilante group. His name is Bulama Jidari. Told Premium Television and another Arewa newspaper in the north. We are under attack. And soldiers were nowhere to be found. But those soldiers, they are in Omaya. They are in Afaruku. So you'll be wondering what is happening in Afaruku. There is a funeral service, a burial ceremony going on of the traditional ruler of the people and the wife. And that is why the army is there and the police. The answer is yes, yeah. There is no other reason. Welcome to Nigeria. Welcome to the largest British zoo in Africa. That's how they reason. Like wild beasts. They shoot somebody dead tonight or tomorrow, and we start. They will abandon everything the police and the army have done. No, they will say no, it's IPOB. There was a clash. How can you clash with a police officer when you're in your kitchen cooking okasi soup? Army will come there to shoot at you, and the newspapers in Lagos and Abuja will say there was a clash in your own bedroom. They went to my lawyer's house, Barrister Joffo, my attorney. They went to his house to be killing people. People said, oh, there was a clash. There's a clash. DCOG, black people. I don't know who did this to you. That is the situation in the north. And many more are coming. Many more are coming. Listen carefully. As Nigerian troops are in Umuahia with their police showing off, none of them can ever show off in Maiduguri. They don't show off in Damaturu. They don't show off in the north. It's always in the east or in the west, as the case may be. That's only the places where they show off. And as I told you before, listen carefully to this. ISIS in West Africa, ISWAP, they call them, attack kills 5 Nigerian security personnel. Who is the leader of ISIS in West Africa that killed 5 Nigerian security personnel? Is the son of the founder of Boko Haram that was killed unlawfully by Nigerian government, that made Boko Haram turn violent. That is the truth. Your newspapers will not tell you this, because somebody will call them from defense sector and say, oh, that thing your boy wrote is not good though. It's casting us in a very bad light. And Lai Mohammed will come out and lie to all of you, and you swallow it hook, line and sinker. But not to us. We are IPOB. We are learned. We are educated. We are enlightened. So we know the truth. And the truth I'm telling you, before you blame Boko Haram, blame Nigerian government, blame Nigerian police. You see the same police, blame them. They started it. Not Boko Haram. It was Nigerian police that started the killing of the followers of Yusuf Muhammad. Today, listen carefully, today the son is ISIS chairman. And when the Nigerian police were killing Yusuf Muhammad, their colleagues in the army didn't know that that thing that Nigerian police was doing will lead to them losing many soldiers and many policemen. They never, they don't listen very well until it started happening. Today the sun has taken over. Just only a segment. And 5 soldiers are dead. And many more will die. Not content with handling the insurgency and the terrorism and the banditry and the lawlessness, the kidnapping happening in the north, they came to the south to start another one. And when they start now, they run to EU. EU, we have a problem. This is now the Kano-led group. They are killing us. They are fighting everywhere. They are terrorists. But nobody will remind them that they are the ones that started it. I am in my house burying my father. And all people can do is to send army and police to come and be killing people. And you keep quiet. The day we retaliate. Oh, you don't say that. You shouldn't say it. Don't do anything. But you can see they're killing us. Is self-defense not even in the scriptures that we read? Is self-defense not recognized by every law known to man? Only in the zoo. They have attacked and killed 5 soldiers. Jihadists aligned with the Islamic State group have killed 5 security personnel, including 2 soldiers, in 2 separate attacks in the northeast of Nigeria, Borno State. But I know why. Those who should be subduing terrorists, I know why. Looking for who to kill in a burial ceremony. Can you believe that? And people think it is normal, there's nothing wrong with it. And I'm asking myself, how can, if blacks reason this way, how can they even develop in this life? Is it possible? Do you think anybody who reasons the way we do can actually be developed or civilized? I doubt it. And they are practicing democracy. And these 5 soldiers who are now dead, when they were killing Yusuf, did they know that this was going to happen to them? They thought, oh no, they are unarmed, they are not carrying anything, it's only their flag and their insignia. Let's shoot them. But the day we will start, you people will be the one to run. And then the idiots will say, oh, let's negotiate, come and let's find out. But then it will be too late. It will be way too late. You are abandoned where you are under attack by Boko Haram, funded by Fulani people, by Fulani Arewa, those in Aso Rock now, this same regime. You are under attack by ISIS, funded by this same regime. And you left all of that. And Omoya is your base. And you're telling me that Nigeria is not sick. Oh, dear me. They are more than sick. They are more than sick. That is what is happening all over the place. After this very program, my very able deputy chairman will take over, of course. He's in London and he's going to take over. And our sister Nena Anya, I understand, is also in London, and the whole world will be listening, including myself as well. But we are trying to point out to the whole world exactly what is happening in the zoo that they abandoned in Nigeria to come to Isiama Farugu. A police officer said, before I said what I said about CP Ene Okon, the wife and the children, he was the one that opened his mouth and said, police will disrupt Kano's parents' burial if IPOB flag or insignia is seen. It is not an IPOB flag, it is a Biafran flag. And insofar as we know, no court has banned Biafran flag. No God. And I don't understand where these people get their reasoning from. How can you ban a nation that is older than Britain? How is that possible? Biafra is older than United Kingdom. How can you ban it? I don't understand this. I don't know the planet they inhabit. So how about if I say I will shoot you because you're wearing a Nigerian flag? Or you have a Nigerian flag in your possession? They see that is another way of these neo-colonialists, lording it over us all the time. Some of you think colonialism have ended. In fact, I'm very sorry for all of you. No, it hasn't. It will never end. With the way you reason, it can never ever end. Because you don't reason straight. Apart from Bishop Kuka, who else is speaking in the North? It's only now they said, oh, the North, this group is saying, all these years we've been saying the same thing. You are being run by incompetent, despotic buffoons who are not educated, who are not reasonable. You didn't listen. I warned you from 2012 to 2015. I told you repeatedly that these people are evil. You didn't listen. That is affecting everybody. Police will disrupt carnals. You will disrupt the burial of my parents. And the day you die, you want your own children to bury you in peace. You must be dreaming. You must be dreaming. Come and disrupt now. We have told IPOB all over the world, conduct yourselves like the humble, peaceful people that you are. Ignore every provocation. Let us hear one shot fired. That's what we're asking for. One shot fired. That thing that some people in Aso Rock are looking for, they will get it in abundance. And can you imagine IPOB going, if I give the order tonight, every IPOB going to the nearest bush after the guerrilla war? Do you think you can win? I'm asking Buratai, do you think you can win? What Boko Haram will do is to sweep through the north. Because no army can fight a war on two opposite fronts. You can never win. You can never win. It's simple. No wonder they are so naive. Simple military strategy. The East is peaceful. Every time you be coming, you kill one or two people, you abduct people, you rape, you pillage. Always looking for trouble. When that trouble comes, you start calling for meeting in Saudi Arabia or in Qatar or in EU, begging for negotiation. But when you're starting the trouble, you never reason. You don't think properly. A police commissioner telling me you will come to my house to disrupt funeral service. And then I will let you, then after disrupting, then you'll be going about freely. Because I'm stupid? Is that what you think? You are certifiably insane, I tell you. Come and disrupt now. Come and disrupt. And I must also commend our people. OKZ Basil went around today to inspect the road. That is not finished, I must say. Not finished. They inspect the road. That's not finished. Did anybody talk to him? Did anybody confront him? Because on this very burial, IPOB is under strict instruction to behave properly. And we are well-mannered. When the time comes for us to hunt, we'll hunt. But for now, we are going to mourn. And respectfully so, of course. Respectfully so. Anytime Nigerians listen to me, and as I'm sure that the Yorubas did with the formation of Amotekun, and I read some people were saying that Yorubas are no longer the cowards, that the cowards are now in the East. And it's true, I'm telling you the truth. I think it is true. Given the debacle of their so-called summit, security summit, and you invited Alamajiri from the north, IG of police from the north, you invited Northerners to Enugu to discuss yourself. They are the problem, and you invite them to discuss your own security issues and concerns. Did the Yoruba invite anybody to form Amotekun their size now? Why are you inviting them? What for? What are you inviting them to come and do? They are the cause of the problem. How many headsmen have they arrested? But then in Afarugu, looking for IPOB, writing and sending. Some of you don't know what happened. After my last broadcast, the Nigerian government sent their agents in Washington, their consultancy firm, to basically transcribe that very clip where I said I will hunt down the family of Ene Okon, that he will go and buy a casket and bury his children. Do you know what they did? They took it and they went round to all the senators and all the politicians on Capitol Hill we've been talking to. I said to them, do you see? You're putting in the Kanu and IPOB. Can you see that they're terrorists? They are threatening women and children. Some of you don't know this. You don't know that? And we sent word across that I'm not like that. I don't kill women and children. What for? I've not even killed a fly before. But with the way that Nigeria is going, very soon they'll get it taught. Let them try and misbehave today or tomorrow. Then they will see if we are bluffing or if we are serious. And we'll start with Ene Okon. If you like, let him run into a rat hole. We'll find him there. And I also refer him to the first book of Samuel 15:33 to guide his thoughts always. Insecurity resigned before Nigeria becomes Somalia. And I want Amaka, I want Chinasa, all of you, go and get that clip from Sahara Reporters I made. I think it was 2012 or 13, I don't know. I was in Maryland in the USA, and I granted an interview to Sahara Reporters. And I told them that if you do not give us the things that we say, anything that people don't understand, they think is a joke because I don't have a mega church somewhere. I have not built 10,000 churches. They don't understand it. That even the death of my parents is to do with the coming of Biafra. Some don't know this, but I know. I know very well. I know that my father and my mother left the stage to allow me to do that thing that I've always wanted to do. And you hear about it very soon. So that when I'm doing what I'm doing, I won't look back. My father is a very peaceful man. My mother loves everybody. I said, I mean everybody. You can't come to my house and live without eating, of course. Some of you know that. No matter how many millions come to my house, you must all have to take something before you leave. They're very peaceful people. And they saw the death of 28 of their children in their own compound. From that day, they never recovered. Because my father, being a very peaceful man, never believed that people can come to his house to kill people. Because he never killed anyone. My father's palace is called Omudo's Palace. Go and ask anybody. When a problem is intractable, when you have people at their throat trying to kill each other, they come to my house. My father will speak and everybody will go back home happy. Go and ask. His palace is called Omudo's Palace. Go and ask. He's a peacemaker. He wants to leave the stage before we commence what needs to be commenced, of course. I know all of that. That is why I'm not bothered. I'm not. Because Biafra is imminent. Coalition in the north is telling Abba Kyari, not Buhari. Buhari is dead in Saudi Arabia. He's telling Abba Kyari. Some of you are Buhari, I look at you and I laugh at you. Black people from Africa. What do you know? Resign before Nigeria becomes Somalia. And I kept wondering, where did he hear that before? I was the one that said it. I said, if you do not give us Biafra, I want the clip, find it and play it, Amaka. And let the whole world hear it. If you do not give us Biafra, Somalia will be better than Nigeria. As I'm saying this thing tonight, I want the likes of Abba Kyari and El Rufai, the cabal that is covering up the death of Buhari and all the rest of it, running the zoo like one giant British concentration camp. You see Somalia. Some of you will be looking for visa to go to Somalia. When I speak, write it down in the episode. Some of you will be looking for visas to go to Somalia, to go and hide and go and live. Because you see Nigeria can never ever be recovered again. It's too late. And I'm telling my Yoruba friends, the only thing that can save people in Nigeria is self-determination for everybody. If you all want to come back together and be Nigeria, I understand it. Come back around the table and negotiate Nigeria. When Shoyinka was talking about Sovereign National Conference, in those days, some of us supported it. We said, of course, you need to come around the table to discuss the basis of this unity and this union and all the rest of it. After a while, it was abandoned. I hope they won't abandon Amotekun the same way that some Yoruba political heavyweights abandoned Sovereign National Conference. Had they insisted, by today there will be no Boko Haram, no ISIS, no Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb, no bandit, no Fulani headsmen, nothing. But some of you don't reason very well, do you? resign before Nigeria becomes Somalia, the same thing that I told them. Today, Somalia is better than Nigeria. And you think that if you contain Boko Haram, you contain Fulani headsmen, Miyetti Allah. After that, you contain ISIS in West Africa. After that, Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb. And all the, it's called Ansari or whatever it is. Up to 6 terror groups in the north. Are you going to appease all of them? Have you not seen Syria? Have you not seen Yemen? Do you seriously think on this earth that peace will ever return to the north again? They can take all the oil proceeds, all the gas proceeds from Biafra land and take it to the north. They can turn the map of the zoo upside down. So they can live in the south and have access to the oil. They will still remain poor. It's a curse. It's actually in the Bible, but I don't want to go into that tonight. They were cursed, it's in the Bible, but I'm not going to go into that tonight. The more you are in one Nigeria, the more you are destroying your destiny and that of your children and those yet to be born. Some of you are realizing it now. It doesn't matter what you do. Forget about your fancy grammar. Forget all the nonsense. I've been to America. This is all rubbish. Nonsense. Nigeria can never, ever recover from where it is today. Armed insurgency have come to stay. I feel sorry for the Hausa people. One of them wrote earlier today. I fight for justice everywhere. Even for Boko Haram, I fight for justice. I said it before. Wherever I go to, before I start making any speech to important audience about Boko Haram, the first thing I tell them is that Nigeria is the cause of Boko Haram insurgency and terrorism. Nigeria they are the ones to be held responsible for it. They started it. It was Nigeria that started killing people before Boko Haram retaliated. Some of you don't know this, but we are telling you. Insecurity, Nigeria, Somalia will be better than Nigeria. Well, why wouldn't it be better than Nigeria? Why would it not be better? A land of hypocrites, where the Supreme Court think they have the power to decide electoral outcomes. Instead of ordering a rerun of the election, let the whole world know who won. No, they won't. They're in Abuja, deciding who wins and who doesn't win. Can you believe such rubbish? I'm not a fan of APC, I can never be, God forbid. Look at Bayelsa, the same thing. They just come. The only thing they are trying, what is important to them is Imo State, the heart of Biafra. That very APC, that heart, that is what they want. Not any other place. That's why they did what they did in Bayelsa is to allow Hope Uzodinma to remain in Owerri. They didn't do it because they want to uphold justice, of course not. So that Uzodinma can remain in Owerri. They will say, "Oh, PDP, how can you complain? Can't you see? Didn't we give you Bayelsa? You know how zoo animals, Nigerians, you know how they were the reason. Oh, don't complain now. Shebi no get Bayelsa. I don't know the rubbish they speak in their useless pidgin English. That turns my stomach. Useless set of people. Useless set of people. In that same zoo, Miyetti Allah, that is working with Obiano in Anambra State. They are part of the government in Anambra. Not IPOB, but Miyetti Allah. Do you see the way people reason? Miyetti Allah is part of Obiano's government. Obiano said it with his own mouth. They are part of my government. Who are Miyetti Allah? They are the ones killing people with their cattle all over the place and their AK-47 supplied by Asorok. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. They are part of Anambra government. And people are dying every blessed day. People are dying every blessed day. People are dying every blessed day. But they're in my house looking for who to kill. And I asked the Nigerian government, why are you not in Niger State? I'm just pointing out all the hotspots. These are the ones that got to the attention of the media. Not those that are unreported. Bandits, these are Fulani people with cattle. Bandits overrun a community in Niger State. Kill 3, injure 50. And I keep asking myself, what is the military doing in Omai? And not in Niger State? Why haven't they burnt houses in Niger State? Do you see what we are seeing? Can people actually reason things through the way we reason them through? On this very platform? Bandits yesterday, I'm telling you what Nigerian dailies are saying, not from me. Bandits yesterday attacked another Niger State community is in a place called Grumana. Is it Grumana? Oh my goodness. Grunama or Grumana in Shiroro local government area. They left 3 people dead. But the police and the army are in my house. But people are dying all over the place. And it's part of their security, their show of force. You won't go and show force where people are being killed. You are in for the showing force. And your average, typical, very stupid Nigerian will never say, I don't know. I can't speak against the Holy Spirit. Because our stupidity is truly frightening, I must tell you. It is frightening, to say the least. In Niger State, things are happening. People are dying every blessed day. Nothing is happening. And what is it that the army are doing? According to BBC report, which of course we have sent to all diplomats around the world, they specialize in torture. Torturing people, that's what they do. They never can fight any war on their own. They've never won any war on their own. Some of you can hear them. It was Ali Ndume, isn't it? The former speaker, begging America to come in. But when your soldiers are killing innocent people who are unarmed, all of you are jumping up and down, our boys are doing well. But anytime they come against people who are equally armed, you start calling America. You run to Egypt for help. You go to Ethiopia seeking for assistance. You go to multilateral force. You ask Chad, Niger, and community to help you. The only place where you see Nigerian army running around gleefully and very happily is when they confront local market women and they start killing them. When you meet unarmed protesters like the Shia protesters and start massacring them, that is when you see them. The Nigerian army, we are great. The integrity of Nigeria, we must keep Nigeria as one. Put them against an equally armed opponent. They start calling Abdulaziz Ratisi to come and help them. They start running all over the place. Help us, let's form multinational force. But civilians, no, you don't need multinational cooperation. You just go and you shoot. And as they are shooting, Britain, who is the colonial master, the creator of the zoo, Nigeria, will not call them to order. Never will they call them to order. To say what you're doing is not good. What you're doing in Isiama Faruku is not good. Get away from there. They are burying somebody. If you hear there is something going on, then you can intervene. Don't go there. But will they listen? They won't listen. They won't listen. And Britain won't even say anything anyway, to start with. They won't say anything. They are part and parcel of the same empire of wickedness and evil. They are asking Jubril to resign. Miyetti Allah killed 23 people. In Plateau State, we know this. Prince Charles couldn't come to Plateau State anymore. Prince Charles, who is the heir apparent to the throne of the House of Windsor, couldn't come to Jos anymore because of the killings. Who killed people in Jos? Miyetti Allah. Who are they? They are legitimate stakeholders in Nigeria. That's what the presidency said. But they're terrorists. And IPOB that never killed anybody, only agitating for referendum. They are terrorists. And some of you are clapping for yourselves, or should I say clapping for your ignorance. And still in the north, because I want to let the world understand how foolish and stupid a Nigerian is. I want the whole world to understand how stupid your average Nigerian is. I want the world to understand how daft and hopeless Nigerians are. That is why I'm doing this very program this evening. They say I insult them, but I tell you the truth. It's not an insult. I'm just telling you the fact, the way it is. I don't even know why some of us exchange words with Nigerians, because some of them are so hopeless, they are unsalvageable. I'm telling you. In Kaduna, listen to this carefully. I'm not talking about the priests they have massacred in Kaduna. In Kaduna, all the killings going on in the north against Christian Hausa populations. Bandits, they burnt 10 members of the same family to death in Kaduna. I'm not talking about the beheadings of the Catholic priests going on, no. They rounded up 10 members of a family and burnt them to death in Kaduna. Burnt them to death. This is from a Zoo newspaper. No fewer than 10 members of a family were burnt to death by bandits who invaded Bakali village in Fatika district, Giwa local government area of Kaduna State. The bandits who invaded the community on Tuesday at about 4 p.m. locked up members of the same family, set the house ablaze, and burnt all occupants of the building to death. And you ask, where is the army? Where is the police that should be guarding this very village? That should be guarding this Bakali village in Fatika district, Giwa government area of Kaduna State. They are in the village called Isiama Farouk. You know why? What are they doing there? Is there any war? No, there's no war going on. They are about to lower 2 coffins into the grave. That is all. And the army is there, police is there. Yes. Who are those that are guarding this Fatika district, this very village, this Bakali village? Nobody. Bandits are the ones reigning supreme there. Army and police are in Omai. And you want me to have respect for a Nigerian? You want me to say that Nigeria is a respectable country? Of course not. You are a product of British colonial experiment. You are nothing. You are nobody. As a Nigerian, you are lower than a pig. A swine is better than you because you cannot reason. The bandits invaded the village, burnt 10 people from the same family to death. No army, no police, because they've been deployed to Biafra land to come and police a funeral service, to come and police those who have come to mourn. They are dead. Can you believe that? That is Nigeria for you in the 21st century. I told you before that Nigeria never wins any war. They have never fought a war before. A man called Ali Ndume is advocating for foreign mercenaries to come and fight Boko Haram. Where is your army? Where is Buratai, 4-star general? When I told you before, for you to be a general in Nigerian army, all you need to do is to kill a few civilians. Or invade the Isiama Farouk, come and kill people where they are gathered, you become a general. When it comes to fighting fellow armed criminals like themselves, they now start looking for foreign mercenaries. They start asking Britain for help. You know that the reason why they have not defeated Boko Haram is because Britain cannot enforce any blockade. You know, Britain loves to punish people they feel who stood up to them. You can't, there's no air, land, and sea blockade for Boko Haram. Therefore, Britain cannot help them. Britain can't help. Ndume advocates for engaging foreign mercenaries to finish Boko Haram. How about Buratai, 4-star general? How about that general who is in Omaya now, with riding in a jeep with one red plate number with 1 star on it? He's a general. You want to go and pay white people to come and fight your battles for you, and you have an army. We are proud of our boys. But when it comes to engaging people who are equally armed, you start looking for foreign mercenaries. Shame on all of you, Ali Ndume included. That's the type of country you run. As they say in Igbo adage, people misplace priorities. You don't know where you don't know if you're to fight insurgency or to come and fight people who are agitating for a common referendum. Ordinary referendum. You are fighting those peacefully agitating for a referendum, and you allow terrorists and rapists to run riot in the north. You people will be affected. You don't know that God is miraculous. Is great. As you people are busy fooling yourselves around Omai, the north is being decimated all over the place. They are burning people alive. It doesn't give me any pleasure or any joy, of course not, no. But that is a celebration of your stupidity as a Nigerian and as a Nigerian soldier. You people should keep supporting evil, and evil will consume you. They came to fight us for 3 years with the help of the British, the Russians, and the Egyptians. What to me I call the Third World War. They thought they can kill us. They couldn't. They took all our money, took our properties, confiscated them, thought they are punishing us. Today they have the highest level of poverty in the whole of Southern Hemisphere. There are more people in Kaduna. In fact, let me just, there's no basis for comparison. Do we beg? The answer is no. We don't beg on the street. They're still begging till tomorrow morning. Elementary is still everywhere. So the things you do, you think you're punishing Biafrans, you are heaping curse upon your... Today, who are those in IDP camps? Do we have refugee camps in Biafra land? The answer is no. You are the people with IGP camps in the north. You are the ones who are suffering. The same soldiers that came and ravaged Biafra land, their children are today raping your daughters in IDP camps in the north. It's called karma. As I told you before, the God we worship in heaven will punish you. He will use you to suffer us because of our wayward ways, our very sinful ways. Now that we have recovered, we know who God is and we worship him. We know there's only one God, not two, not three, not eight, not nine, only one single God in heaven. There is no other. Now that we call upon his name, do you see what is happening to the north? They don't even report what is going on. Very hopeless, very useless country. The time now is approximately 11 minutes past the top of the hour. 11 minutes past, I think it's 9 p.m. in the land of Biafra. Very, very important. Or is it 8? I think it's 8 p.m. in the land of Biafra. 11 minutes past 8 in the land of Biafra. Please, I don't want to get it wrong. I have to be correct at all times. Have any of you come across this very trending post that we have? Nigerians, listen to me very carefully. This was published by ChristianPost.com, monitoring the savagery leveled against Christians in the zoo called Nigeria. Nigerians describe horrors of Fulani atrocities. There is genocide going on. Do you know why I'm laughing? You know that when the Fulanis were doing the same thing to our mothers during the war, those of them in the Middle Belt were laughing. Hey, Igbo man want to dominate us. Yeah, they want to dominate. Today I say to them, who is dominating you? Who is making your life a misery? Who are the ones now raping your mothers and cutting open the womb of your expectant mothers and dragging out the babies and slaughtering them? Let me read this news for you. It's very interesting. They went to Washington as well. They call them Nigerians. They went to Washington. Nigerians from predominantly Christian tribes in Nigeria, that's from the north, visited the United States this week to share how their tribes are now homeless and sleeping under the skies after recent massacres at the hands of Fulani radicals and unwanted actions taken by the government. Now they know. Now, do you see that Ojukwu was right? The thing about Nigerians is that they don't, I don't know how, is that jealousy and envy? Why is it not one of us? The same way, with all due respect to my Yoruba brothers, I said to them, when we formed BSS to defend Biafra land, you were against it. But today you have formed Amotekun. The same thing we formed, and some of them were not, I won't say all of them were, some were against it. Have you not formed the same thing? The same thing Ojukwu was saying before, that go on, what's his name again? T.Y. Danjuma said no to. And Obasanjo as well. He's a rebel. These rebels, let's go and crush them. Is it not the same thing you're crying over today? Why can't some of you actually come out and say that Ojukwu was right? Say it openly. He was right. The same way that I'm sure that one day they'll say IPOB was right. Why can't you come out and say that we've always been right? The same Christian communities in the Middle Belt saying Igbos want to dominate. You want to get your own Biafra. You want to divide our... You are dying because you are in Nigeria. When will you people understand this very simple logic? The reason why babies are being killed, people are being made homeless, farms ravaged, is because you are in Nigeria. When will it sink into your daft brains, for goodness sake? When? Oh dear, always in Kaduna and in Plateau. Two members of the Adara community, a majority Christian ethnic group in Southern, and we're not going to leave them. We have said this before. If they support Biafra, we cannot abandon anybody. Because Biafra will be for all. Biafra will be the kind people should not be afraid to be free. We will give you oil and gas. Don't be afraid to be free. Agitate for your freedom. We will give you oil and gas. You have seen it now. You're in Kaduna State. Minority Muslim, majority Christian. Who holds the power in Kaduna? Always a Muslim. They have the guns. Nigerian Army, Civil Defense, Fire Service, Customs, everything. Once you carry weapons, a Fulani man is in charge. Or you report to a Fulani man. That is why all the governors in the East are scared, terrified. They can't speak up. Because you speak up and tomorrow they impeach you. You have seen what's happening in Imo State. Today they move over to APC. Somebody was asking them, all those who defected in Bayelsa State, all those that defected from PDP to APC, what's not going to happen to you? They'll defect back again to PDP. To impeach a governor is very easy. Asorok will pay somebody. One court somewhere, presided over by one Sharia Al-Kali, will tell you, yes, it's true, that what the Speaker of the House did is correct. You go to Supreme Court, you lose. And they sack you. That is why some of the so-called governors in the Southeast and South Side, they are terrified. Not from weak, of course. They are scared. I can't blame them. Some of the governors are scared. Do you want them to stick out their neck? You will be there, and Asorok will pronounce, remove him. His own brother from his village will replace him. Just like that. And they say, oh, forget, yes, they will get, like in Imo State, they will get a few people that say that the traditional rulers of Imo State, don't go anywhere. No, don't go to court anymore, withdraw your case. That land, I no longer recognize it. The land of the ancients, where truth always prevailed. All of a sudden, anything goes. Any idiot can be in power. It doesn't matter where they got the power from. Once they control the budget, oh, let's support him. 2 members from the Adara community, a majority Christian ethnic group in Southern Kaduna, we are slaughtered. They were slaughtered. Igbo man is your problem. They are slaughtered. Now they have realized it. Until you apologize to Ojukwu. May his soul rest in peace. Until you apologize to Biafrans. You see the blood of, when I say 3.6 million people chastise me, they say up to 5, let me say the blood of 5 million people are on the heads of Nigerians. And you are suffering the burden of Boko Haram, Miyetti Allah, Fulani, which is Fulani headsmen, of course, and bandits. You're suffering from ISIS in West Africa, Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb, and Ansaru. Do you know the reason why you're suffering all these afflictions? Do you know why you're going through economic hardship and deprivation? It's because of the evil that your fathers committed against Biafra. And you keep clamping down on IPOB, and the terrorists will keep clamping down on you in the north. Continue. Keep supporting evil, and evil will come to you. Support evil, and evil will visit you morning, noon, and night. Look at Nigeria and learn, and realize that evil never ever pays. It didn't pay before, it cannot pay now, and it will not pay in the future. What is your problem in Nigeria? Say Boko Haram. What is your problem? They say, oh, terrorists are ravaging us. You capture, listen very carefully. You capture a terrorist. After 2 weeks, you say he or she has been rehabilitated. And you know what they do? They draft them into the army. And America will keep giving more money. And that is why I think that this whole Boko Haram business is terrorism nonsense is actually a business between some people, maybe in the West, and some crooks like Buratai and Abakari in Nigeria. It's a lucrative business. I do not understand why Europeans and Americans of all people, advanced, intelligent, will be supporting a regime that will be actively harvesting terrorists to serve in their army. Is that possible? Is that possible? How can you capture a terrorist? They have killed soldiers. Your so-called soldiers who are now in Afarugu. And after the same terrorists that are busy killing people, you will go and recruit them into the same army the next day. And you're telling me that Nigerians are okay in the brain. Are you telling me that Nigeria, I don't know, should it actually exist? Should Nigeria exist as a country? Boko Haram is killing us. Federal government is releasing the ones we have captured. Soldiers are crying. No, camp more in Afarugu. As they slaughter you in the north, camp more in Afarugu. They are monkeys. What do they know? You capture a terrorist. You release. No, you don't release. Next week that terrorist is now wearing army uniform. What do you expect? No training, nothing. They are singing army songs in Hausa language. I have nothing against Hausa language, of course. Hausa people, for that matter. They have taken ethnic jingoism to a new level. This present cabal, this regime in Asorok. And that is the end of Nigeria. You think Nigeria will recover from this? You are dreaming. 2023, so somebody will come from the south and bring peace and unity. You are dreaming. The bombing will intensify because those who are meant to be fighting them are not in the right frame of mind to fight insurgency. And they are former terrorists. So they'll take an order from an Igbo man, a Yoruba man, as the commander-in-chief. Okay, go to Damaturu, shoot that Adamu Abdullahi. And Burata will go and shoot Adamu Abdullahi. For a Christian president of Nigeria, you are dreaming. Your senses are not correct. That means you don't know what is happening in the zoo. The zoo is gone. Can never ever recover from the mess it is in right now. They're releasing them. And as others are fighting for their own security outfit, what are our dear beloved governors doing in the east? In south and southeast, what are they doing? Of course, capital nothing. And I want to sound this note of warning to our people, especially our governors. You are in the habit of always saying southeast. Always answering this name that the North give to you. And I find it astonishing. Fulani only exist in Sokoto. They're spread all over the place. Sokoto they took from Hausa people. Got there, of course. But when they want to do something, they will say, oh, we are forming a Fulani vigilante. I've never heard of people saying, oh, we are forming a Bagi vigilante, or Hausa vigilante, or Bachama vigilante. They always say the North. And Yoruba will always say the West, of course. Yoruba is very lucky that they are very homogeneous around that western flank. But when it comes to the East, we always say Southeast, South, all this nonsense. But we are there, the North formed, Dambro Bashege, whatever they call it, their outfit, their security outfit. They call it the North. They didn't say Northeast, Northwest, North Central. No, they call it the North. But when they come down to you, you know all these things that we are, then therefore not to remain during the war. You know, during the war, a lot of things happened. A lot of, it's a Dambanza we are born amongst us with a questionable bloodline, like those in OYC, or is it IYC, Joint Youth Council, some of them. Questionable parentage. You are busy talking rubbish. South Security Group, Joland Nation, Igbo Group, Igbo Burigo. You are so daft, you are so foolish. In the North, they call it North. In the West. Nobody said Northeast, Northwest, North Central. No, because they understand the strength in unity. That once you come together and you lock the gate, they can advance to Benue confluence, and you can do nothing about it. But we are forming Southeast Group. We are forming Southwest, South Group. You are foolish. That is why the only viable option is a Biafra-wide defense network. All this your nonsense tinkering, Southeast and South will never ever work. If it's a good idea, why is it that the Northeast don't have their own security outfit? Northwest or North Central? Why did they come together to form Northern security outfit? Why? Because you are so hungry. When they sprinkle those loose change and ask you to go and be a saboteur, go and derail the plan of your people, you run. In some instances, they may promise you a political office, or you kneel down in front of them to beg them for political office. They make caricature of you. In the end, you are as useless as those that went before you. All this nonsense of Southeast security is rubbish. Pure rubbish. South rubbish. We are going to have only one security outfit. Only one. Covering the whole of the former Biafran territory. Only one. Not two, not three, not four. You people cannot reason very well. Go to the North and ask them. Okay, Northeast, where is your own? And any day now we try to come together to have a Biafran-wide security outfit or relaunch it again. You see the North will start complaining. Oh, you're going into South. But the person, this Fulani person or Fulani brain behind the strategy of the North is not telling you that he's from the, Northwest. No, he'll say we are all from the North. But anytime I say we are all from the East, they will say, no, they're South there. But when you're saying you're from the north, do I complain about northwest, northeast, or north central? That's how you know. Those that wish you well and those who don't. Because our people cannot reason. They say Southeast, they called meeting of Imobi. I'm sure it was called by Mbazulika Amechi, the very highly respected elder statesman. Do you know they have not called Imobi meeting for the past 2 years? Despite all the killings, no. Modo was forced to call Imobi meeting. He called an Imobi meeting. And when Yorubas were planning Amoteku, nobody knew about it. They did it in private and came out and announced it. This was, I'm going to Nikelek Resort. There's a security meeting. This one, I'm at government house. Do you know that the governors and the so-called Igbo leaders never sat in the same room to discuss any security strategy? The governors were discussing with their masters from the north. The so-called Igbo elders were busy discussing amongst themselves, walking away from meeting, walking back, walking out and walking in. Very typical, isn't it? Very typical of them. That's why they never get anything done. They don't know how to strategize. They don't know how to keep their mouth shut. They don't know how to do anything at all. Everything is in the open. I walked out and I walked back in again and I walked away and I walked. What happened? At the end of the day, nothing happened. They said Nigeria police with a Fulani commissioner is good for everybody. And that's the end of it. Typical, isn't it? When we go out now to safeguard our land, they start complaining. Who did you tell? Because if I tell you, in fact, as I'm talking to you, your other line is open to one Alhaji Damaturu in the north, overhearing our conversation. When I told you that you will pay, I read some people are now beginning to come to say, when I said you will pay for a very corrupt Efulefu leadership. Some of you thought I was joking. Are you not paying for it today? Go and have security now, let's see. Without IPOB. Go and form security now, let us see. If IPOB is not there, because the order has gone out. Nobody should join anything being formed by anybody or any group. It's a final order from me, and people will obey it. And nobody will attend to all those rubbish they're doing. Have you not seen what we're doing in Ebonyi? Are we not fighting in Ebonyi every blessed day? Or you're claiming you don't know? They call it a strategic partnership for effective community policing in the Southeast geopolitical zone. And I'm asking the IG that went there. This IG, is it Adamu or whatever he's called? He went to the summit. And I'm asking the IG, when they were forming Shege Damboroba group in the north, did you attend? Amoteku, did you attend Amoteku? Why must you come to Enugu to offer an impute? Who are you? Okay, I know, he's the IG. Oh, okay, no, do you understand what I'm saying? Is an Igbo adage. Please excuse me, I don't have to translate it. The rat, let me attempt it. The rat in the house, the homebound rat, told the outside rat in the farm that there is fish in Ngega. In English. You know where we dry fish, where our grandmothers used to dry fish in the kitchen. Above the stove. People gladly. I met the IG of police. We are discussing Southeast security. But IG of the police is Fulani. They are part of the problem. They have never arrested any Fulani man. Those raping our mothers and killing them, no. It's only IPOB in my hand you run to mine. And you're telling me that they are normal. Of course they are not. And can never ever be. Nothing came out of the meeting, oh. For once, Mwodo spoke well and said, no, we don't want any security outfit that the North or police will be in charge. He said no. For once, I agree with you. Because if it makes sense, I agree with you. Anybody who makes sense, I agree with you. They accuse me, you only want it to be what IPOB initiative. Of course not. If you say something decent, I will agree. For once, Mwodo actually spoke well and said, no, we don't want any security outfit that will have an oversight from the police. No. For once. And I was saying hallelujah. And I was looking for the governors. They have signed their own memorandum of understanding with the police. They're saying, and they are not Igbo, with all due respect. I know what some of them are passing through privately. But with all due respect, the governors are not the Igbo leaders. They are not. The only person that I think there is Mbazulika Amechi, Amuchiazi, who's in Enugu. I can call an elder. I don't know, their names may have escaped me, and 3 or 4 other ones I may call an elder. The rest are not. These are the Igbo leaders. Mbazulika Amechi, Amujazi, and a few of them. And Madiebo, I'm very sorry, please. General Madiebo. These are the leaders that we have. Not the governors. The governors are political puppets of the North, understandably so. What these men say perhaps will carry a lot of weight. Not what the governors. Look at the governors. They left their people and they ran to the IG of police. As if to say, if I sit with all of you and ignore the IG of police, I'll lose my position. And most of them will, to be honest with you. They're trying to safeguard their position. You can understand that. But in the end, truth shall prevail. Truth shall prevail. Gunmen open... This is the news about Nigeria. Gunmen open fire on traders, killed 7 in the same Kaduna, 10 burnt. The other ones raped and killed. 7 killed in the same Kaduna. The same Christian enclave, the same people dying, the same people that said that Igbos are dominating them, the same people that were against Biafra. They never knew what Ojukwu was fighting for. The same way this generation, some of them do. I'm very glad that some do recognize what we are doing. We don't hate anybody. What we are doing is not out of hatred. God in heaven knows. No, not at all. Actually, it's out of love and kindness. To all of you who are so ignorant, you cannot see what is happening before your eyes. Another 7 killed in Kaduna. Is now a statistic. 3,500 killed last year. Just, but those people, they have mothers, they have fathers, or they have children. Somebody is going to miss them, somebody is going to mourn them. It doesn't touch you. You keep asking, the solution is not, God will give us a new president. No, because the system is so corrupt that whoever you put, even if you put Jesus Christ in Asorok, he cannot perform. I'm being very, very honest with you. Never, ever, ever can it, because the system is so horribly structured that anybody you put there is bound to be corrupt. These are the things you ought to know. These are the things you ought to understand. These are the things you ought to appreciate coming from us. Ojukwu said it, and now this very present generation is saying the same thing. We are saying the same thing. It never changes. That freedom is the key. Nothing stops Biafra from tomorrow merging with Oduduwa. After all, look at EU. They fought. There was a time that France and Germany were at each other's throat for over 50 years. Napoleon was strutting his stuff all over Europe, conquering territories and all the rest of it. Hitler did the same. But today they're all together in EU. Nothing stops Biafra from merging with Oduduwa tomorrow, and we find a very good name to name this very country, this new country. We can go to Middle Belt and say, do you want to join? Sign up to these value systems and you join. Nothing stops the whole of West Africa from being one. I mean, absolutely nothing. But let us agree how it's going to be. Not some idiots that think that Britain gives them a privileged position, a position of ignorance and ignominy. From there, you lord it over everybody else. In the 21st century, driving cattle from place to place as if you're deranged in the brain. Very sad indeed. 7 people killed in Kaduna and in Isiama Faruku. Borno attack, Boko Haram. Atiku said we must explore all options to stop this scourge. Who started the scourge? Fulani. Who started the scourge? Those that wanted to remove Jonathan. Who started the scourge? Those that wanted to use armed conflict to spread Islam by force across Nigeria. If you want to join Islam the same way with Christianity or Judaism or anything, it's a question of conscience. Let your conscience guide you. It's not by force. But they won't listen. They're fighting a jihad. Today they're saying we need to explore all options. So that mighty army can no longer defeat Boko Haram, ordinary Boko Haram. You talk about ISIS, Al-Qaeda. Are you going to defeat all 3 of them at the same time? Of course not, you cannot. What is the solution? It is not the only strategy that can work is allowing people to go. Once you divide Nigeria, you draw the oxygen away from terrorism. Even Sheka will focus on how to develop Borno. I'm telling you. That time he will no longer have access to other areas. So the expansionist tendencies of these of jihadists will come to zero. It's pure common sense. You want the killings in Kaduna to stop, divide Nigeria, it will stop overnight. Overnight it will stop. But all these people with their houses abroad and money in Dubai and in all those places telling you, oh, keep Nigeria one, for your own selfishness, for their own benefit and that of their family. and you're there dying. They are massacring you, they are slaughtering you on a daily basis. You cannot go to farm without the fear of perhaps that you may not make it back alive. Why is that happening? It's because of one Nigeria. As long as you have one Nigeria, people will continue to die. It's a very simple thing. But of course, we were slaves in America for 250 years. Nothing happened, so who knows? We may be enjoying itself, who knows? Who knows? Those who are busy in the southeast looking for a burial ceremony to attack, they are the ones calling for Jubril Abakari to declare a state of emergency on security in Nigeria. They have failed. When you're asking for a state of emergency to be declared, it means that the entire security architecture in the country has collapsed. It has failed. Because we are black people, we have no shame, we have no dignity, we have no honor. Myself included, I'm saying it generally. We cannot do the right thing. What is the right thing? Let offer people referendum, let Nigeria. Well, of course, a Senate president, now it's my turn to eat money, to answer His Excellency. You want things to divide? That is where white people are better than black people. Do you think if F.W. de Klerk were to be a black person that he would relinquish South Africa? Of course not. He will tell you we have the power, we have nuclear weapons, we have support of some racist countries around the world. We'll stay here forever and ever. Don't you know that? Don't you know that? But he saw the handwriting on the wall and he said the time is up. And they left. A black man will stay there for 45 years. When he's about to die, he will want to hand over to his son or his grandson. And I keep asking myself, what type of God actually made us, to be honest? I mean, what type of God that people cannot reason properly? You have an emergency in the country, security situation in the country, and you are at a burial ceremony. Looking for who to kill. Where's the terrorists everywhere? Ah, dear me. Somebody saying that we have female governors. Somebody is speaking up. At last. Consistently so. What did he say? Nigeria like a stranded ship. One mini ship that goes in the waters. It's a ship. Stranded. It's not going anywhere. It's just there, sharing budget, sharing allocation, giving positions to their children, NNPC board chairman, all the rest of it. Telling America to fight IPOB. IPOB is a terrorist group. Ignoring 6 terror groups they have in the north. Rampaging everywhere. And you are telling me that Nigeria, of course Nigeria is stranded. How do you get a stranded ship off the sandbank where it has beached itself? Is to flood the whole plain and drag out the nonsense back into deep water. How do you do that to a place like Nigeria? You call for a referendum. You renegotiate the basis of your so-called unity. That is how it is done everywhere. Do you know that in Russia, even Vladimir Putin is restructuring Russia? That's how people behave. That is why in NTA, to tell you that these people are so daft, that same intro song they used to play when I was a child is what they're still playing till today. That when you hear it, you want to have a heart attack. NTA 9 o'clock news. That the same song, the same intro from nearly 50 years is what they're still playing till now. They never change. Russia is saying we want to change. We want to restructure. Britain restructured. You see Britain? Oh my God. Britain didn't restructure. They granted Wales autonomy, granted semi-independence to Scotland. Scotland has a parliament with tax-raising powers. The Welsh Assembly can make laws for Wales. But these are regions, though. Despite the fact that they have constituencies which is more like states in Nigeria, it did not stop the British political establishment from recognizing that Wales is a nation. Scotland is a nation. Yes, we are in the UK, yes. But these are nations in their own right. Let us give them some limited space. No, in Nigeria, it must be a unitary system. When the North came out as a result of Amotekun and said, we will not allow any regional police. It has to be by state. That was when they gave the game away. They don't want region. They want artificial. Anything that is artificial, artificially created state is what they want. That they can control. But regions, they cannot. You know why region is very good? Because we now think about the betterment of our people, everybody at the same time. No longer, I'm from Imo State. I'm from River State. But you are from the same family, the same surname, the same nonsense happening in Ohaji, in Ebema, in Uguta. The same people, but in different states with different priorities. If you are in one region, you are one people. You think about your common interest and you articulate ways and means to try and resolve it. Nigeria is like a stranded ship. Not me saying it, it's Bishop Kuka. The man has been very fiery this week, very upset and very angry. And rightfully so, because of what is happening in this zoo called Nigeria. Let me also make the world understand that they are wasting their money investing in trying to stop insurgency in Nigeria. Because their entire strategy is flawed. Completely flawed. Listen to this. They arrest a terrorist. After 2 weeks, they said they have repented. They rehabilitate them and put them in the army. Do you know what, brother? These are people that said, give me 3 months, I will sort out Boko Haram. You know what they're saying now? It will take them 10 years to de-radicalize. In fact, he's saying that 10 years is not enough to de-radicalize Islamists. Then people are asking him, why are you then in a hurry to free Boko Haram suspects if you take 10 years to de-radicalize them? You see how they keep getting themselves tied up in this knot they cannot free themselves from anymore. When I say they are daft, people say, oh, you're insulting people. I say to them, I'm telling you the way you are. Most black people cannot reason like human beings. They reason like animals. I'm telling you the truth. They cannot reason properly. It will take 10 years is not enough. These are people that promised us 3 months. After 3 months, everything will be gone. Now 10 years is not enough. And then you're releasing them. The question is, why are you in a hurry to release them then? Or integrate them even into the army, which is worse. To be going about killing, raping, pillaging, and murdering innocent people. Very, very sad indeed. Extremely sad indeed. That is the situation in Nigeria. That is what is happening. And instead of them to face their problems, they're in Isama Faruku. Some of you do not understand or know what is happening in Kaduna. Some of you do not understand what is happening in Kaduna. Some of you don't know what's happening in Kaduna. What is happening in Kaduna is that a daughter recognized a police officer as one of those that killed the mother. It's happening in Nigeria. But they are in Isiama Faruku. They are in Isiama Faruku. Making life absolute misery for our people. Making life very, very difficult for our people. That is what you need to know. That is what you need to understand. That's what you need to understand. This is Radio Biafra. We are live and very direct. I will be handing over to my deputy, Uche Mefo, in a short while. I'll be handing over to him in a very short while for them to continue because they have a wakekeeping in London. But we must finish this very broadcast very, very speedily. We must speed through it. And I am sure this very evening that there is nothing untoward happening in and around Umuahia because we are prepared for them. Our drones have been tested and they seem to be working perfectly well. Tomorrow we unleash it. So that even those that claim there's going to be a clash, they will see who started the clash first. They will see who started the clash first. Very, very important. At least the soldiers have gone on to protest, to complain about the release of Boko Haram terrorists. Now, at least they have done well to complain, to protest, to say, why are you releasing Boko Haram terrorists? And these same people will now go to USA and say, oh, give us more money, we are fighting terrorism. I don't know what American ambassador is doing in Abuja. Sometimes I ask myself, okay, what is the job of these ambassadors? Why can't they compare? What is there to be gained in preserving Nigeria? What is there to be gained? I keep asking this question. It is only corrupt forces, people who are evil, that is hell-bent on keeping Nigeria as one.
Nigeria is not your name. You don't know the meaning of it. It was artificially created by a white man. You're a black man in Africa. You're not related to Lugard. In no way, shape, or form. Why are you adopting something that is so artificial? People are dying because of it. Why are you adopting such a name, or should I say a country or a nation, whatever you call the damnable zoological republic? I call them zoo animals. Nigerians are animals. They are animals in a zoo. This time around in a British zoo, caged together by ignorance, deceit, and self-denial. This is your Senate president, Lawan. His name is Lawan. Do you know what he said? He said that regionalism won't take Nigeria anywhere. The same regions that worked before, that people were going to school, scholarships everywhere, development, all the industries, all the factories. Alo was competing with Michael Okpara to see who will grow the fastest economy. Yoruba economy were growing. Eastern economy was growing. Biafran economy was growing as well. Under Michael Okpara, all the industries you see in Iguacha, in Port Harcourt, was built by Dr. Michael Okpara. Our built in the West, and to an extent, let me tell you the truth. Ahmadu Bello also did spectacularly well in the North, under regions. Tell me if the scale of development and progress achieved between 1957 and 1967 has ever been matched by anybody, anywhere, except what Mbakwe did in Imo State. Tell me where it's been matched ever again. All the industries and factories that Sir Ahmadu Bello brought to the North. Has anyone even attempted to get close to matching his record? Look at the fantastic work that Chief Obafemi Awolowo did in the West. Has anyone come close? Look at the miracle that Okpara wrought in the East. Has anyone ever come close? Apart from Mbakwe, of course, but only with Imo State. Imagine if Mbakwe had the whole of the East to develop, what would have happened today? Just imagine it. That is, now, Lawan is telling you that regionalism won't take Nigeria anywhere because they want to control your lives using state and local governments. These are the things you don't know. Because in states, you have no identity. After your state, the next thing is Nigeria. And what is Nigeria? Nigeria is nothing. But if you have your region, you will see patriotism come back to the people. I'm telling you, if Shekau can face up to the reality that he has only the North to kill and to deal with, he will change his mind. His mind will be changed. His mind will be changed. That is why it is very, very critical and very, very important that the likes of Lawan is not allowed to remain in office. Cannot be. These are the people driving this one Nigeria agenda because he's the Senate president. He wants to keep enjoying all the bonuses and all the allowance. He wants to send his children to very fine schools abroad. He doesn't care if your local university is functioning very well or not. But I can assure you, were you to divide Nigeria up to your tent, O Israel, these men and women will take their duties and responsibilities so seriously that you will see a level of development you never ever imagined could exist in that part of the world. That is the truth. Having all these states is very, very confusing. It makes a few people very rich, very few people very rich and comfortable, whereas everybody else is suffering. When Nigeria, so to speak, as a whole, recorded any meaningful development was when people had the regions to fall back on. As simple as that. But they won't understand it. They are the zoo. You want your state. All that is of importance to you is allocation and who is going to be the next governor in the year 2096. That's all that matters to you. When is it going to be the turn of your village? That is what concerns you. Even Obong Victor, a very good man, thank you for governor of, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's Cross River State. Obong Victor Atta has said it, that Nigeria may end up like Somalia. Why won't it end up like Somalia? I said it before. Everything I say comes to pass. After that, the zoo must fall. Write it down. I said Nigeria will fall. It will collapse. They will be begging for restructuring. No. They will beg for regions. No. They will beg for, there will be nothing left. This zoo will fall. To collapse. There is nothing anybody can do about it. Absolutely nothing. What can you do? What can you do, I ask? What are you going to do? the zoo has collapsed already. They have now twisted the narrative. They say that insurgency is dead, terrorism is now with us. They were the ones that named terrorism insurgency. They didn't want to call their brothers terrorists, so they called it insurgency, to look for a way to rehabilitate them, to give them loads and loads and loads of money, to justify what was happening, to try to excuse the barbarism and the mayhem. They called them insurgents or insurgency after the bombing of Madala. No more terrorists. The same thing they did to headsmen. Headsmen are not terrorists anymore. They are called bandits. One day they will revert back and call them terrorists again, as they are now doing with Boko Haram. We are no longer dealing with insurgency. We are dealing with terrorism. And next year it will be, we are no longer dealing with terrorism. We are dealing with insurgency. There is one thing they are not confused about. It is the road that leads to Isiama Afaraukwu. In every other endeavor of life, they are confused. When it comes to locating Isiama Afaraukwu, they are very good at it. But they cannot find the terrorists, can they? That is the zoo for you. And that is why I call them a zoo. The damnable zoological republic. Unreformable. There is nothing you can do. You cannot change it. I said this to people before, and they were perhaps doubting me. Have you seen the economic blueprint of Babangida before? Have you seen Babangida's economic blueprint in 1985? One of the very finest, I repeat, one of the finest economic blueprints ever. Did it succeed? The answer is no, because of the damnable zoological republic. It will never ever succeed. That is how terrible they are. That is how horrible they are. Where the life of a cattle, Nama, is more preferable to that of a human being. All they do is they lament and nothing happens. And when you do something, they come for you and they arrest you. I go back to the argument on regions again in order for people to understand this very news. Police went to Anambra State community and they arrested community elders. Can you imagine such rubbish? Are you telling me that when terrorism happens in the north, you go to the nearest village and you arrest all the emirs and all the elders in the village? The answer is no. But in the east and everything goes. Because every governor to your own tent to Israel, once you succeed in getting re-elected, courtesy of the patronage of the Fulani cabal, you are there. And they're messing about with your people. They came to our villages, they came to kill, and unfortunately 4 of them lost their lives and their cattle. And they went to the village, they arrested everybody. When Fulani people kill in the north, they go to the nearest place to arrest everybody. The answer is no. Why are they arresting you? Because of your governors, because of your so-called leaders. They have sold you down the river. You are worth nothing before the Fulani cabal. They can do whatever they like with you. That is why they know why. Because the Efulefus are in charge. That is what happens. And I know one of their commentators was today also lamenting about the Efulefu mentality and culture that pervades the entire political spectrum in the East. And I warned them that I cannot come out and begin to castigate people who are innocent. I'm not insane. Anything I tell you, over time, you will come to my position. Over time, you will realize that what I'm telling you is correct. That this same IPOB will never change. We educate and we enlighten for the betterment of everybody. Not just for our own. We told you that they can never agree. Now they are in Anambra arresting our elders. They are in Umuahia encircling an entire village over burial ceremony. But the north is left open to be ravaged by terrorists. And people are going about their normal business as if nothing is happening. That is what makes you black. That is what makes you unreasonable. That's what makes you an animal. That is why you are unwieldy in your way of reasoning. And that is why Africa is not developed. I tell you the truth. And this truth must be spoken. This truth must be said. This is live Radio Biafra presentation. Very shortly, as I said, we shall be handing over to Uche Mefo to continue this very program this very evening. And I'm sure they'll be able to open their lines as well. But I'm going to end this program with this very piece of news item. Very, very important. Very, very important. Somebody wrote this piece, not me, not IPOB activist, or not an IPOB miscreant. You know, we are miscreants. I'm the number one miscreant. Myself, I'm the number one miscreant. Not a miscreant, no, not at all. It was written by somebody who was lamenting, who was complaining. They say he's a human rights activist born in Imo State, Comrade Paul Ikechukwu Njoku. He describes Southeast governors as a bunch of clueless, unpatriotic, and cowardly elements who have just sabotaged and committed the lives and properties of Ndibo into the hands of Fulani militia, bandits, rapists, and ruthless terrorists by refusing to adopt a regional security outfit that guarantees the real concept of indigenous community policing, devoid of the tenacity, regulation, and collaboration of the federal government, which to me remain an orchestrated and organized deceit of Fulanization and jihad. What else want me to add? He's not a Nnamdi Kanu saying it. He's an activist. His name is Comrade Paul Ikechukwu Njoku. He's telling you that, unfortunately, things are not very well. That's exactly what I've been telling you from the beginning, but you never listened. But now I'm sure you will listen. And for all those coming down to Umuahia, for the burial you must proceed as instructed. There will be no space tomorrow. There will be no IPOB. There will be no space anywhere. Heaven will bear us witness that His Royal Majesty Ezesayo Kanu and the wife, my mother, Ugeze Sali Meme Ukwu Kanu, were the children of the Most High. And tomorrow we shall let them to rest. And every generation shall remember them, because for their sake and all those who have gone before.